3/21/2024. Music is from purple-planet.com. The name of the song is Nuclear Fusion. My name is Tim Pate, and this is the Old Man Rambling Podcast. Signs of a toxic person. What is a toxic person? Well, we're going to talk about that right now here on the Old Man Rambling Podcast. So, I had to bring this up because of a situation that I've run into time and time again, and it's kind of spilled over into my life in a hobby that I enjoy. And I figured, I would talk about it today. And here we go. I'll talk about it here in a minute. Yeah, purple-planet.com, purple-planet.com is where you go to find out more about this music and the people that let me use their music in my podcast. And just go over there and take a look at it. So, I don't know if any of you that are listening to the sound of my sexy voice have ever dealt with this before. But to a degree where I don't even know how to explain it. So this is going to be the third time I've tried to start this podcast. And I get about a third of the way into it, or I get right to the end of it, and I think to myself, wait, I did something wrong. So the reason I'm doing this podcast today is because of something that took place the other day. And I have to be brutally honest with you about this. The person that I'm referring to is somebody that I met years ago, and he's somebody that I think the only people that like him, or the only people that he keeps close to him, are people that he doesn't want to attempt to manipulate. But he does manipulate them to a degree. He manipulates them enough to sound like the victim. And this is a toxic person. If you know someone who's difficult and causes a lot of conflict in your life, maybe you're dealing with a toxic person. These people can create lots of stress, unpleasantness for others, not to mention emotional or even physical pain. Toxic people need constant attention. They need an outlet to feel better about themselves. They gloat. They constantly need affirmation. A toxic person is anyone whose behavior adds negativity and upset to your life. Many times people who are toxic are dealing with their own stress and traumas. To do this, they act in ways that don't present them in the best light, and usually upset others along the way. Now, I wonder to that degree, what I just read, does a toxic person actually know that they're toxic? Now, I was married to a toxic person for 18 years. I was married to a toxic person. And I'm not. This isn't my my little podium where I'm going to stand here and tell you, oh, she was this and she was that. She was horrible. And obviously, in some marriages, people just fall out of love. Some people leave marriages because of infidelity. Some people leave marriages just because they're not working anymore. And some people leave marriages because their significant other was a lying, cheating, toxic person. Toxicity in people isn't considered a mental disorder, but there could be underlying mental problems. Toxicity in people isn't considered a mental disorder, but there could be underlying mental problems that cause someone to act in a toxic way, including personality disorders. Here are some signs you may be dealing with a toxic person. I think if you are dealing with a toxic person, maybe you don't get it. You feel like you're being manipulated into something you don't want to do. No, here, hop in this van. I've got candy in here. That's a toxic person. You're constantly confused by the person's behavior. You always have to defend yourself to this person. You never feel fully comfortable around them. You continually feel bad about yourself in their presence. If you've experienced these feelings around someone that may be toxic, if you constantly have such emotions, get the hell away from them. I think everyone listening to the sound of my voice in this podcast today has dealt in some degree with the toxic person, whether it's a boss, it's someone that you consider to be a friend, this person that's always drunk or always needs validation in anything that they say. They constantly need validation when they tell a story to you. Well, ask this person. They were there. They saw it. Or the person that comes around and always steals the air out of the room. A toxic person is someone that comes into a room and farts and makes it stink up and then laughs about it and blames it on somebody else. Or it's someone who comes in the room and farts and just doesn't give a rat's patoot. That's a toxic person. Signs of a toxic person, just like there are signs you're around a toxic person because of how the person makes you feel, there are signs seen in the person themselves that highlight their toxicity. Inconsistencies. Part of being human is having ups and downs, good times, bad times. But a toxic person is almost never consistent. Their behavior is erratic. They don't follow through with their commitments or promises. I have an ex-mother-in-law and father-in-law that are toxic people. The behavior is erratic. They don't follow through with things that they say they're going to. You never know what they're going to do next, such as inconsistencies in is very hard when you're trying to be there for someone. They can be elated and 1 minute, and the next minute they write you off. They always need your attention. Have you ever noticed that a toxic person always needs something from you? Whether it's consistent phone calls, they show up at your door, they interrupt your conversations with people, and they always need emotional support, and they're probably not being supportive of you in return. They take all of that without giving anything back whatsoever. They have a heightened level of self-interest as a need to showcase their own greatness to receive affirmation. Now, I said that before. This can be associated with narcissistic personality disorder as well. And you'll notice that a toxic person is like somebody that has a constant rain cloud over them. They always bring negativity wherever they go. Like they come around and it's like, oh, shit, not this guy. or this gal. Oh, there comes Mr. Toxic himself, coming to fuck my day up. There's always drama. Ever notice how drama seems to follow some people? It's likely not a coincidence. Toxic people thrive in dramatic situations. They inflame emotions and create conflict. They love stirring the pot to see what happens. People are often toxic because they're not interested in being stable and in healthy relationships. And they, I noticed this, and I think I mentioned this earlier. They stick around a certain group of people that have bought into their bullshit because they have them on a rope. They've got them in their toxic web. And they like to keep them there because they have them at bay. They'll be over here talking bad about certain people. And then with the other group of people that they have in their web, they're explaining why these people are so mean to them. And why? Why are they being like this to me? I've never done anything. I never said that. I never did that. But the people that are in the web over here on this side completely believe this toxic person because he's got them in his web. He's brainwashed them, or she's brainwashed them. And they don't respect any boundaries whatsoever. They'll just come into a room where there's people that know how they are, and they'll find a few of the people that they've bullied before with their toxic behaviors, and they target them, and they continue to target them, and they continue to emulate that toxic behavior that they're so good at. Healthy relationships are based on trust and the ability to respect boundaries. Toxic people just can't do that. They manipulate others for what they want. Do you feel taken advantage of or manipulated? Toxic people love to manipulate those around them to get what they want. This means lying, bending the truth, exaggerating, or leaving out information that is super, super important. Or they take certain action or have a certain opinion that they just have to get across. They'll do whatever it takes, even hurting people's feelings while manipulating them. Another toxic behavior is someone who abuses drugs or alcohol. Here comes that drunk fuck again. Here he comes again. He's going to suck the air out of the room because now you got to take care of this jackass because this person is completely inebriated. As soon as you notice toxic behaviors, confront that person. And it doesn't work like that. You can confront a toxic person until the cows come home. They're not going to change. They won't change. They'll change their stripes for a few days, and then the stripes come right back. Call that person out on any of their lies or inconsistencies. Tell them that you do not appreciate how they behave. This shows them that you're paying attention. They don't care. A toxic person does not give a fuck. They don't care. They could care less. All they know is that they've won, and they've done their toxic trait. And it says here to set stricter boundaries. If you must have a toxic person in your life, try to set stricter boundaries. For example, if someone's abusing substance and it causes them to harm you or others, let them know you won't stand for this. It doesn't work. Make it clear you won't tolerate their overly dramatic behavior or spreading rumors about people. Limit the time you spend with them. Those toxic people always find their way back in your life. Really, I feel like the only way to truly get rid of somebody who is toxic in your life, if you live close to a person that's toxic or somebody in your group of friends, move the fuck away. There's other ways, but they're not legal. So, I'm just bringing this up because I know a couple of toxic people that, they act like they're good, but deep down they're not. And I've never understood why people who are toxic, they don't see what they're doing as wrong. It just doesn't make any sense to me. So all I can say is, if you know toxic people, be careful. They're in your life for a reason. They're truly in your life for a reason. And they're there because you allowed them to put themselves there. They've left a mark on you. Or you've told them something that you shouldn't have. And now they have a weapon against you. And that's to be even more toxic. And it really, you can try as much as you want, but they're still going to cling to you because they need to feed off of your negative emotions. And once they have those claws in you, they're not going to let go. Yeah. I don't think there's anything else I can add to negative people. Can you think of anything, Trevor?
No.
Do you know any negative people?
Way too many.
Yeah. And there's a reason why those negative people are no longer in his life. But unfortunately, I have one very negative person in my life that I unfortunately can't get out of my life because I live very close to this person and we enjoy the same hobbies as one another. So the only way I can eliminate this person is just to ignore them. It's very hard because they know how to manipulate. And avoiding them only feeds to their ego. They're going to connect themselves to you in the most negative way possible. And yeah. It's kind of sad. It really is. But anyway, I don't know. I don't even know what episode this is. I guess it doesn't really matter. But I figured that I would come on today and talk about negative people, toxic people. Yeah, 17 minutes. Holy crap. I kept this one very short, and I did it for a reason. So if you know a negative person, feel free to send me a message. Tell me about the negative person. Don't use names. Don't use addresses. Let's not be the toxic person in return. Just be polite. And what did you do to get this person out of your life? Please, I don't want to hear about any physical harm or anything like that. But, yeah, just, and if, my podcast opened your eyes to something that you may not have seen, just look at the image behind the old man rambling, and that's a toxic person. Yeah. And just imagine a rain cloud around them. Anyway, my name is Tim. This is the Old Man Rambling podcast. Yeah, I hope that you have a wonderful week, and we'll see you here again soon. Have a great week.